Okay, now let's see if now we're finally on live. Yes. Okay. Are we back? It looks like we are. Just checking everywhere. Dang stream keys. Oh my god. Monday, Monday, ba 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 ba. Wrong stream key, ba 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 ba. Monday, Monday. You're driving me batty. Okay, anyway, hello, welcome again. Thank you so much for joining. My name is Jason Levine. A little annoyed at myself, but that's what you get when you're live and you get to see it all. You get to feel the emotion. You can see I'm more red in the face out of pure personal anger towards myself. How is everyone today? Yes, Martin, this is a singing course. Thank you so much for joining. On today's Adobe Live, you just missed the best intro ever, by the way. We're going to be talking about video editing, specifically a feature that we released in Premiere Pro back in April called Productions. And I've done a couple of streams around this. The difference today is that we're going to assemble this from the start using some content that my own offspring has been creating in Rush, as a matter of fact. During the quarantine, we've read all the books that we have, binged all the movies and everything that he's interested in, done all the illustrations that he can, although we're still doing daily illustrations in Fresco, thanks to people like Kyle Webster and Alice Lee inspiring my offspring. But lately we've been doing some YouTube gaming videos edited in Rush, and that's going to be the basis for the content that I'll work on today and tomorrow, putting together this production. So the idea of the production is essentially a better way for you to organize all of your media, especially if you're putting out multiple episodes of things and you're constantly reusing similar assets. So this can include everything from animated lower thirds, animated logo bugs, sound effects. You probably have a lot of projects that contain all these various elements. Well, the production is just a newer, more efficient way to organize all of that so that you can quickly access it, especially if you're rolling out a lot of content. But it doesn't even have to be. We're not talking about episodic TV. You don't have to be doing an NBC series or a Hulu series. Again, you're just cutting YouTube videos, and there's lots of common things that you're going to keep using. And you probably now are going through different projects going, where was that graphic? Where was that particular thing? Where was that? Well, the production makes it a little bit easier to find and sort through those things and just keep it organized. And it's also going to keep file loading of your projects much, much faster, because you can have a production that has 20 episodes of a series, but it doesn't have to load up every piece of media and cache all of that media all at once, right? If you've ever opened up really big projects, they can take a long time to open. The production opens almost instantaneously, and then basically it's just pointing to all these different places where you can begin to access your content, all right? So as always, we're coming to you live on Behance, YouTube, Twitter, and Periscope, so thank you so much for joining. All right, it's great to see you. Ron Sussman, what's up? Shafak Fatima, hello. Vamsi Ihajo, great to see you. Hello, Adobe Expert. Cody Bear, always lovely. We've got Damien and Horg and Valerie Fortuna, 2020. Tech Mantras, Nepali Model, thank you very much. Nabil, Nizi, how's it going? Everything Android in India, hello. All right. All right, and then over on Twitter Periscope, we've got Desiree, Valentina V, Palitha, Mustafa, Let's Eat. All right, very nice to see you. Okay, now we've got a full schedule coming to us today on Adobe Live. I burned through 8 minutes inadvertently. So we started this morning with Spencer, getting started in Fresco. Then we moved to Voodoo Val. Thank you for that very nice intro, by the way, Val. Doing the Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge. I'm with you now for the next 2 hours until 11:30 with video editing and creating production. At 11:30, we've got Kaladi doing the Illustrator Creative Daily Challenge. 12 o'clock, the Adobe XD workflows and pro tips with Jessica and Talon. 2 o'clock, my buddy Howard Pinsky is going to be doing the Adobe XD Creative Challenge. And then at 2:30, we have Doodle Therapy with Alice Lee. So once again, a full day, of course, on Adobe Live. Darius, Sam G, Cal, Martin, very nice to see you all. All right, and somebody was asking before if I'm related to Adam Levine, and of course the answer to that is sadly no, although my middle name, coincidentally, is Adam. So there you go. So somehow connected in some way. Martin, it's about Final Cut X, right? Yeah. Cheeky, very nice. Russell, what's up? Brian Walker. All right. Please do not ever send me that soundbite, Tim. Ever. Thank you. Alexander, you know, we've got millions of keys, lots of streams. They're all preloaded. It happens. It's just, you know, you do a lot of these, you do them all the time. It happens. You just got to keep on swimming. Okay, so let's move over to Premiere, shall we? So let's start with the production. Okay, so you may have noticed, outside of not only our new branding and new colors, right? So all of the new video apps now have this new look. They're all sort of in this uniform color now. So that includes Premiere and After Effects, Character Animator, Media Encoder, and Adobe Audition. I actually think Animate has the same or similar, very similar color scheme. And from here, you can begin the process of creating a production. So we're going to go up to the File menu and choose New Production. All right. First thing, of course, you're going to give the production a name. And I'm going to call this Lizard Gaming Series. I call my youngest the Lizard Monkey, and he is a lizard gamer. And then you just need to tell it, where do you want the production to go? Now, a best practice, because you probably think, well, I'll create the production and I'll put it in a folder, and then I'm going to take all my media and put all of it in the production folder. You actually don't want it that way. You want the production and where it's stored and the things that it's going to store related specifically to the production itself in its own discrete location. Okay, that's just a best practice. Why? Everything I've been told is that's just going to make things better, more efficient, faster, work better. You don't want the production file or the production itself where all of the media and stuff is. You want to keep those separate because really, again, by nature, you probably got stuff on multiple drives all over the place. The production is going to house all that together. So all the media by nature does not need to be where the production is stored. So I'm going to stick it over here on an external drive, my RAID over here. Let's put it in this 2020 folder. And let's call this one Lizard Games, Production Master. I'll take the space out there. All right, so we'll choose that. Lizard Games Production Master. That's it. Okay, very good. And you'll see project locking and collaboration preferences will be enabled. We're not going to talk about collaboration today. I'm not collaborating with anybody, all right? And the first thing that it's going to do is it's going to create a project. Now, just a little sort of info around all of this, because this can get a little confusing. Now, again, a production is essentially a collection of projects, all right? And in those projects, you might have your edits, right? Your sequences, your selects, cut downs, B-roll, dailies, right? All of these things that we typically create projects for, which can get very, very inflated and very hard to organize. The production essentially organizes all of your projects together. And however you want to organize those things is entirely up to you. Now, right away, it creates the default untitled project. So we'll get back to that in a second. A good practice is to sort of obviously create bins, create folders to begin organizing those things. And how you kind of stack these things together is entirely up to you. Now, it's always going to, by default, organize them by name alphabetically. So you can use numerals if you want. You know, my buddy Carl, when on a recent stream, talked about it's a good idea if you always want things to kind of be in order. If you have a particular flow that you like to see your content in, you can do that by creating a new folder. And we could do something like, 01, and this could be called episodes, all right? And then inside of this bin, I'm going to have all of the projects that contain all of the episodes, all right? Very easily, a very quick way to do that. But then inside of the episodes folder, obviously nothing in there right now, let's create another folder. We might have edits or selects, right? Or other elements. Again, you can decide how you want those to be. Or it could just be media, okay? So maybe we'll call this one media, right? And then inside of this media folder, I'm going to have, say, a B-roll folder in there. And then maybe I'll also have a sound effects folder, okay? And again, inside each of these, I'm going to import a series of different projects that house all of the media, all of those reusable elements that we're going to leverage to kind of build up this catalog of episodes of all of this content, all right? Alexander, so it's basically the master file of a series. I mean, that's a very good way to think about it. Yes, so it's really, you know, instead of having, and it's funny, and I was gonna pull this up for you. I'm sure I'm gonna pull it up on the drive here, just to because I think everyone will be able to identify with this. I was going through, I had actually started another production for you in advance, and I thought, okay, I'm gonna do this with my, this old series that I started shooting years ago called Just Play Music. It was a children's music series. And again, case in point, like how we save projects and how we manipulate projects. So right in here, all right, so this is like episode 1, show intro. I mean, I'm sure many of you, whoops, what did I just do there? I just made everything bigger. How did I do that? What? How did I just resize all of that? I don't even know how I did that. You can look here and you can see, I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4A, B, C, D, E, 5, A, B, 6, A, B, C, D, D1. So now we're still in 6, D2, D2A, 7, resaved in Creative Cloud because you can see this was originally done in 2011, right? And just like on and on and on and on and on and on. I mean, it can get pretty daunting and pretty unnerving to have all of that content. And that's just episode 1. Then I started a totally new project for episode 2. And if I wanted to share media from episode 1, maybe it wasn't in every edit. Maybe, you know, it's like just impossible to organize these things. So yes, so the production really allows you to very easily bring in the content that you need, reveal the content that you're working on. Again, you can point to a project that might house all of your dailies, all of your dumps of media, but you don't have to load all of that in every time you launch the production. So just in terms of firing it up and getting started, it's just going to be inherently faster, all right? Yeah, no, I'm on a keyboard, Alex. I'm not even sure what I did right there. Very interesting. Leda Bermudez. Haven't touched Premiere in a long time. All right, hope you can... hope we can inspire you to do that. All right. Cal. So you're our Adam Levine. Oh, that's very nice of you. Yes, indeed. Gabo Bergonzo, how are you? Okay. Keeping track of the bits and pieces is a nightmare. Yes, it can be. All right. By the way, it's worth pointing out for those of you following along on the other networks, if you want to be part of the chat is happening over at behance.net/Adobe Live. So that is where you want to be. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to just first and foremost, we'll keep making more folders and organizing things, but I want to start bringing in content so you can kind of see how this works. Let's import some episodes, all right? So I'm going to right click here, and when you do that, you'll see that you have a couple of options. So you can create a new project inside the production. And in fact, I'm probably going to do that because this is where I'm going to build a project that has all of the sound effects media that we've been using in his videos. He likes a lot of, you know, he's, and I've been watching a lot with him to make sure that they're, you know, okay, kid friendly and all that stuff. And he really loves transitional sounds, right? So everything from whooshes to punch sounds. And these are so common. We've been watching a lot of FGTV, Dan TDM. I've gotten very familiar with these channels. Jelly, Kindly Kian. If any of you know those in the chat, feel free to give me a thumbs up. And a lot of great sound design in these things. I mean, this is something that we've been saying for a while. I mean, these edits, these daily productions are every bit as legit as anything, because there's a lot of time that goes into making them special for people who are tuning in every day, right? So we're going to add a project to a production, right? So I already have all of the edits as projects, right? Now, actually, I've imported these from Rush into Premiere Pro. I have most of them done. We might need to do one additional one, so I'll show you that workflow as well. So let's go over here. I believe it's in... Is it in my Lizard Gaming movies? Yes. Okay, here we go. And here's all of the various converted projects. And you can see I converted those this morning into Premiere projects. So let's start with the first one here. So we're going to click open on this, all right? And it tells you, all right, a new copy of the chosen projects will be added to the selected folder inside the production. Yes, okay? So it's going to do that. It's going to bring stuff in for us. Okay, here we go. Double click on this. There's only one sequence, and there it is. Okay, now this was the very first one that he did playing Minecraft. All right. So shot in the studio here. And this one didn't have a ton of sound design. We didn't really do anything fancy. Probably the most common elements that we leveraged and re-leveraged and knew that we were going to use were some of the motion graphics templates. Specifically, a lot of the social call out and YouTube related ones. So like the subscribe, thumbs up, add notifications. So you can see those Mogrts here. Oh, and actually it's even showing you the graphic in the graphic. Wow, that must be new too. When did we start doing that? I don't remember seeing the actual Mogrt in the Mogrt frame, but yeah, that's pretty awesome. Maybe we always did. Maybe I just never noticed it. All right, so here we'll just take a look at this.
To see more, I'll show you the full entire bendy house. Like and subscribe and hit that notification button if you want to. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I will see you guys next time.
Okay, so and you can see he's got his green quarantine hair because all about that during the lockdown here. Okay, so again, now this first gaming video, all right, appears under episodes. And, you know, I can rename this here so that this is a bit easier to follow. So I'll just call this, you know, Ep 1 Minecraft. All right, just make it easier to find. Okay, so now we've got that in here. You can see the elements here, the motion graphics template there, the master clip itself. Again, you can access all of that from within the project if you so desire. Okay, not a lot of media here. It was one continuous recording, all right? So let's go to the next one. So we're gonna go ahead and add another project to the production. All right, he played Cat Simulator. Go ahead and bring that one in, copy that in here. All right, same thing. I'm gonna go ahead and rename this. This is F2. By the way, so many of these games I had heard him talking about, but hadn't really seen the gameplay, so they were fun. And again, a lot of common, very simple Mogrts, right? Done in Rush. It's amazing to see the youth create edits with Rush. It's a lot of fun to actually get that going on. Yes, green hair for Philly Eagles, right on, Darius. What was the thumbs up symbol on one of the motion graphics? Yeah, so that's inside of Rush, and I imagine you can also find it in Premiere Pro. In fact, if we went to Essential Graphics, let's open up that panel. There are a whole series of, you know, standard social styled templates and in Adobe Stock. Oh, and you can actually see they're right here. They're coming up right here. So this one, the title of it is Pink Like Button, okay? And you can see I saved those out to my library. I'm even going to favorite these because he's using them so much. But again, these all came from Rush. Same ones that you use in Rush, of course, compatible and accessible in Premiere. It's also worth pointing out that the Rush ones, by the way, you can see we've got hover scrubbing over these, so you can see what it looks like, what the animation actually looks like before you bring it in. These are fun, right? Again, this YouTube one, very standard. Subscribe, click, subscribed. You know, he's like 149K. I'm like, oh, someday, buddy. You better make that money. That's right. No, I'm not pimping him out just yet. We're keeping it at bay. It's really for fun, and he just loves doing it. But that's where you can find all of these, all right? And I wonder if you actually type like button, Oh, sorry. Let's go into stock. Like button. Oh yeah, there you go. So if you're searching, you know, it's one of these things too. You see me get very excited about this stuff. When we get the search and the metadata stuff right. So I'm searching via Adobe Stock. Also note the new icon for that as well. I just searched on the term like button and it returned 4 pages worth of different like buttons, right? That one looks very Facebooky, I guess. There's different alerts, different call outs. Here's like a combined series. So again, a lot of our Mogrt creators will build Mogrts. This is a pay one, but you can go into the info here and it tells you like this has multiple variations, 6 different styles, in and out animations, custom color. All right. And again, really, it's just really good metadata in these things. So that's where you can find all of these. They're so useful. Here's some like very customized. Yeah, these are kind of fun. Actually, these would look pretty cool on like a kid's channel. Hand-drawn subscribe buttons, hand-drawn like button, hand-drawn play button. It's pretty neat stuff. Yeah, so all of this is via Adobe Stock, okay? Let's go ahead and close up Essential Graphics. All right. Let's see what else we got. Okay, any more questions here? Okay, sweet. All right. So let me show you one other thing, because again, I'm going to keep opening these up, but I wanted to talk about importing things directly from Rush. Oh, and while I'm at it too, now this one, if I just take a look at the timeline here, I believe we didn't really do any sound design or additional music in this one yet. One thing you will note, if you bring Rush projects into Premiere, and this is by design, you're going to notice that you have, oh, and you can't really see it because it's all the way on the side here. So I'm going to zoom in for you. Here, let me readjust this. You can see more audio. You're going to see 30 plus audio tracks inside, already like open and unused. 33, as a matter of fact. I don't know if I can get to it. Yeah, there you go. You're going to see 33 tracks. And this has something to do with the way that Rush is trying to interpret if you're using like I can't explain exactly why it's doing it, but you're going to have this like 33 track Premiere project. So if you want to clean everything up, if you simply right click or control click on one of the audio channels here, and let me do this so you can see it. So I just right clicked in the dead space, go to delete tracks. All right. It's going to pull up a dialog. Let's delete all empty audio tracks. Click OK. All right. And now you can see we've just got the one. Okay. And we can add more again as needed. But you're going to notice when you bring them in, that is in fact how that's going to happen. So, and of course we can save the change to that project as well. All right. So let's go back to the home menu here for just a second and access one of those Premiere Rush projects. So again, this is where you can do that directly from here. Open Premiere Rush project. Okay. And let's go into this one, which I left as untitled. Okay. And you can see another little message here. This project is not within the current open production. Settings that apply to projects within the production will not apply here. That's fine, because first we're just going to kind of see what's going on inside of this, and then we can add it to the production after the fact. Okay, I just need to link that media, which I already carried over. All right, being efficient there. All right, we got it in here. And once again, now you can see again in this one, we've got a bit more sound design, couple of his favorite things, transitional harp glissando. Really loves that one. We use that a lot. Here's another one. All right. Just loves. Super Punch MMA. I think he liked it just because it was titled MMA. And then a little whoosh transition. Okay. Now again, if we go over to the timeline here, now once again, you're seeing, doesn't look like there's a lot of audio here. But if I scroll down, you'll see suddenly, and you can't see, some of it's behind me, but there are additional audio files in here, some very, very small. So again, if I wanted to make those a bit more visible, I would just come in here and delete the empty tracks like that, okay? And now it just kind of brings, there's like 3 basic tracks of audio here. Makes it a little bit easier, again, just to see what's happening inside of this particular project. All right, now I'm going to save this. save this to this Lizard Gaming Movies here. And we'll call this Lizard Game 5. And this one is Sonic Mods. Okay. All right. Let's close this project. And now we're going to go back up to episodes and we're going to add that project to the production. Okay. Sonic Mods. Copy it over. Brings it in. If you've never seen this progress panel before, this is if you're downloading stock audio content, stock video content, Mogrts, this is where you can see the progress of the download and everything else there, and it pops open automatically. Okay, so once again, we'll come over here. This is episode 5. Sonic Mods. All right, double click on this. Now you can bring it in here. And you can see too, like a lot of these sequences, I didn't even name, you know, or he didn't name rather. Blame it on him. So again, you can start to manipulate those things, but it doesn't matter because you have the episodes right here. Now, this actually brings up a really cool feature that we've added to the preferences in Premiere, specific to how it displays names for projects and bins. And this is something which you've probably encountered yourself. So like you can see here, when you have a bin that's called something like Motion Graphics Template Media, the name starts to get really long, and it can just be a real drag. You know, it's just difficult sometimes to see everything. And also, I get like that's the project. I'll know just by looking at it that it's the project. I'll know that that's bin media. So I don't necessarily need to see the word project or bin in front of it. So this is something that was actually in beta before last Tuesday. It's now been added to Premiere Pro, which is the ability here to hide those labels. So up in the General tab here, you're going to see you have the option to show project and bin in the project panel tab. It's on by default because that's always been the behavior. If I go ahead and turn this off and click OK, now I see Ep2 Cat Simulator, right? Untitled project, media browser. Again, Motion Graphics Template Media. I don't have to see bin : episode 5. It's just a lot nicer and a lot easier, right? And it just shrinks it down that much more. Again, especially if you've got source media and stuff, you know, coming from a bin and in the red files where the file names are already extremely long. This just makes it a little bit easier on the eyes and easier to see. So this is something that just got added in there, and super, super useful. All right. Cornell, slap in the face sound effect. Oh yeah, we have so many of those. We use so many. All right. Very, very cool. Okay. All right. Just checking the chat here. All right. Okay. See people talking about Adobe Stock. Stock it up. We like that. Okay. Very nice. All right. So we've got this untitled project in here. And by the way, I can close these panels. I don't need to see them necessarily always open, right? So we can close these up. A lot of stuff in here that I don't often use. Very seldom use info. This was just already docked in the previous previous state of this particular workspace. Brain died there for a second. So we're going to call this one sound effects. All right. Now, sound effects are kind of special because you wouldn't necessarily make a timeline per se, like a sequence, but you might, right? So maybe I'll assemble a sequence of all of the punching with grunt effects, right? Or maybe I just want a project that has all of the punch sounds, right? He really likes these kind of punch sounds for transitional purposes and things. So again, when I create the project for sound effects in the production, I'm not putting the media of that here so that I just have this long list of media here. It's more that I'm going to house all of that in one place so that I can always find it. And then similarly, because I have some of those elements already in the episodes, when I go to, reveal in project, it's going to allow me very quick access to that media. And it's only going to load up the media that I'm using, right? So in this case, let's go ahead and import a whole bunch of sound effects, all right? So those happen to be in this folder here for sound design. And some of you may remember when we did the boxing sound design project. That's where all these came from. So let's just we could probably just do all of these because I think all of these will probably get used at some point. Some of these came from those royalty-free BBC libraries that have been available for a while now. All right, so we're just going to select all of these and do an import. All right. Now, again, thinking ahead about this, and let's just do this in like a list view here for a second. We can maybe dock this up here. One of the things that you want to think about, again, because I'm thinking about how are we going to use this production? I'm trying to move him to Premiere. So if I'm going to help editing, what's going to make my life a lot easier? Well, it might make it easy to have, like I said, maybe all of the punch with grunt sound effects as selects in a timeline. So I can just really quickly access that. And then I can do a pancake timeline inside of the production here, right? So remember, this production panel, you can have this floating. This can be off on a separate window. I've just got it docked here so you can see it. But you're going to have access to those projects that you can just real quickly go, all right, I need punches or I need whooshes. And if you've got all of the whooshes contained in a sequence or in its own project, it just makes finding them a heck of a lot easier, right? And then they're always there in the production when we get to episode 6 and we want, right? It's going to be real super easy to do that. So maybe because those are probably already named whoosh, let's maybe start with some of those. So I'm just going to make a new sequence in here, and we'll do it at 1080 24. I'm going to call this whooshes. All right. Don't need any video here. We're just going to take all the whooshes and drop them down into the timeline. All right. That's a super short one. All right. Really short. Okay. And let me see if I've got very, very small. I don't typically do rectified audio waveforms either. I'd like to see the whole waveform. And I'm going to color code these. All right. Different labels just to make it easier on my eyes to show that there's a differentiation. All right. That's a whole series of different ones. Also here, let's show the audio names. All right, so this one is whoosh single. I don't know why I did these kind of out of order. Whoosh backward, let's do whooshes forward. All right, you can put these on different tracks if you want, entirely up to you. Let's do this one in lavender. And it looks like I just kind of reversed that previous one. That's cool. Whoosh transition. We'll do a little separation there. This one in rose. I believe that's from our loopology library. And then whoosh soft. Again, we'll do another little label change on this. So the idea, again, just to reiterate here, is that now we've got all of these whooshes contained in a project, in a sequence that we can very quickly access and again, pancake into something else. That's very long, right? And as I'm doing this, I'm thinking, you know what, maybe I will separate them. Because I'm thinking, you know what, if I'm pancaking, it'll just make life a little easier just to have some space between them, right? Just move them out like this, okay? And that's it. So now we have our whoosh sequence, right? I don't need to leave it open here, but now this is contained in this project. And this project is going to go under sound effects here, okay? All right, and then inside sound effects, we've got our whooshes. So we're gonna do the same thing now for some of those punches. So let's do another sequence here. We'll call this punch with grunt. All right. I'm going to start dragging some of those into here. All right. Some more grunty than others. Smack hit. All right. Now this whip, crack, slap. Okay, no grunt there, although I like that one. Okay, super punch MMA. We like that one. And let's do labels again. So let's do yellow and brown and green. All right. That's a very dark green. Okay. This is blasphemy. Insert old grain filter. Back in my day, you had to remember where things were. Yeah. And as you just saw moments ago, I mean, you know, I still do that. I'm like, oh, I remember it's on that drive from 2011 in that folder. I actually still remembered all of that, but then you get to those projects, and because you're so used to saving so many variations, it's like, oh gosh, you know, it's just impossible. And then the media is all over the place, and there's no central way, and some things aren't always relinked, and it just gets really, it gets hard to deal with. Did I already do the smack yet? I think I did. All right, punch with grunt, subtle. Let's do this one. That is very subtle. Low pitch. All right, label this. Purple. Let's get this high-pitched one in there. I don't know if I think I just pitch adjusted. Those are good. Pillow punch, reverse. I don't think this has a grunt, but it's got kind of it's got a grunty element to it. Almost whoosh-like. Right. Very cool. Yeah, well now the color coding is really essential because this is, again, just going to make it that much easier to pull in individual elements and know that you're working with different media. It's also worth pointing out that under preferences, labels, you have 16 different label colors, and then you have these 7 different label defaults. But of course, all of these, if you click on the colors themselves, are fully modifiable. So again, you can even use the eyedropper if you have specific colors that you want to use for your labels. This was something that we added a couple of versions ago, a couple of years ago. And this is just great. And the colors now, they're really vibrant. If you remember back in like CC 2015, they were very flat. Those are very flat, and they weren't editable either. So now you just have a lot of flexibility when bringing this stuff in, okay? Very cool. All right, so now you're starting to see how we've got this organization happening, okay? Now, what I'm thinking of is, one of the things that we're gonna start doing is we're gonna bring in, on his channel, a combination of gaming, and then he likes to do a lot of bizarre sort of like puppet style videos. And I don't know if any of you are familiar with Shark Puppet, but I encouraged him to do another series because he loves Shark Puppet and he had a Shark Puppet. We're going to call it Shark Puppet Imposter, all right? And Shark Puppet is just this little hand puppet that likes cheese and says, yeah, a lot. So he filmed himself and I filmed him doing a bunch of these little shark puppet things. So another element of having some things separated and modified might be having selects, right, of some of the best media from this before we even begin assembling an actual timeline, right, of the episode itself. So again, these are the finished episodes. That's kind of the key here. These projects are pointing to finished episodes. Now, if we want kind of our dailies or our work in progress, that could be something else. That could either be a subfolder inside the episodes or an entirely different folder outside of the structure here, okay? Which maybe that's a good idea. So I'm going to do a new folder, and we'll call this O3, not OE3, and we'll call this selects, okay? So again, I'm now denoting media specifically as B-roll and sound effects, but I'm gonna, because we use a lot of the similar B-roll. Like if you've seen, again, on some of these gaming videos, they tend to steal a lot of the SpongeBob, 2 hours later kind of things. That would be some video B-roll that we go to frequently, or some bizarre inserts. Again, the more bizarre, the better for a lot of these gaming videos. That's the kind of B-roll I'm talking about. And all of that would be in a project where it's just those elements. 2 hours later, all these crazy things. But in this case, we're going to import the project with our selects. By the way, while I'm at it, go ahead and save this. All right. Cynthiel Ron, how to modify the audio sound from low to high, high to low. Adjustments. I'm not exactly sure what you mean by that. If you're just looking to make it louder or softer, I recommend using the audio track mixer right here, okay? So in the audio track mixer, also accessible via the window menu right here, and then you can choose which sequence you're working on. These faders here will allow you to adjust your volume and decibels so you can make it louder or softer. Also, if you want to do it at the clip level, there is also the audio clip mixer. So inside of a single track here, so we're all on audio 1, I can adjust the volumes of each of these individual sound effects if I wanted to. So let's say, watch, I'll show you what I mean. So you can see as I hover over them, this is called selection follows playback. So let's say I want this one to be a little quieter. I can drop this fader down 2 dB. Then we go to the next one here, and I want this one to drop down 4 dB. All right, and then I want this one to be louder. I'm going to increase this one 2 dB. If I play this back now, pay attention to the fader here. You'll see that that's going to move accordingly as it jumps between the different audio clips. All right. You see it moving? Okay. So that's 2 different ways that you can make adjustments. You, of course, also have volume keyframes on your audio clips. So again, if this were video, by default, this would be opacity, this little line right here. But if you look at the tooltip, what you're seeing is this is actually decibels. So you can affect audio amplitude here. Additionally, if you hit Command or Control on Windows, you can set keyframes so that you can dynamically, adjust it over time, depending upon what you're trying to do. All right. Cool. I almost never use the audio clip mixer though. I'm not a huge fan of that one. All right. Let's go ahead and add our selects. So we're going to come back to here. And I believe I have a Shark Puppet folder, imposter selects. Copy. Okay. Now, by the way, again, we're not getting into this today. And I want to remind everyone, again, if you're watching on my YouTube channel or on Twitter Periscope, if you want to be in the conversation, you want to go to behance.net/Adobe Live. That's where I'm answering the chat live. This is telling me that the projects are currently locked and that I'm the one leveraging them. Now, a common question that we've been getting a lot about productions is, do you have to be a team plan member? So remember, with Creative Cloud, we have Creative Cloud for individuals, CCI, Creative Cloud for teams, CCT, and Creative Cloud for enterprise. Teams and enterprise allow something called team projects, which is a fully collaborative editing environment, works with Premiere, After Effects, Prelude. Very, very cool. Lots of big organizations use these on a daily basis. One of the things we started doing just before or just after sort of the shutdowns and everything started happening is that you now have access to team projects. But outside of that, you do have project locking and project sharing capabilities within a production if you have your productions and media on shared local storage. So once again, up in preferences here, you'll notice that there's an option for collaboration. So if you go to collaboration, you can see it's using the team project system, okay? You basically give yourself a name, and then anyone else who's working in your organization on a, again, shared local storage, local network, they put their name in, and now you have the ability within the production or even within just a regular project to share those projects, and like you can have people review the content you're working on. It's really very cool. And what you're going to see is this icon down here inside of the project panel. This shows you if the project is writable, all right? And if you click on it, now you get this lock icon. This project is read-only. So if I were collaborating with my friend Carl or someone else, we're working on this shared project, with this lock now, what this means is that he can only review. He wouldn't be able to move clips around. And you can see as I pick stuff up, because this project is locked, notice it's letting me move it, but nothing's happening because it's locked, all right? So this is like a great way to do quick reviews. If someone says, hey, I just did a quick edit, you know, I've got some After Effects in here, whatever, I just want you to check out the render that I did. Awesome. There's no way that you can mess this up. If it's unlocked, however, now, of course, you can move things all over the place, all right? So it's just a real simple project sharing, project locking capability. Is this project function, asks Dr. Jekyll and Hyde, for social media projects? I'm working on trailers for totally different purposes, so I'm not sure. I mean, it's really for anything, right? The key is with this type of, I mean, this is basic collaboration. You're working with people on shared local storage. Again, I do the sound design and, you know, sort of final edit tweaks. My buddy Carl does all the mid-level, you know, editing, production, kind of gets the story together. He wants to share that timeline with me, but I don't want to make changes. I just want to see what he's done. He locks it, I grab it. It's, you know, I don't have to tell him I'm grabbing it. I just grab it. Also, you know, you can see, again, who's locking it, who's kind of owning those projects, so to speak. So it's just a really simple way if you've got shared storage with people in your organization to collaborate and to review, and then again, to let others edit it very quickly, all right? Cornell, my YouTube channel, I'm putting it in the chat right here, is Jason Levine video, all one word. All right. Never mind the capitals here. Okay, I just put it in the chat for you right there. All right. Santi, what's up? Thank you very much. All right. Sam G learned several interesting things today that help inspire me editing this week. Oh, that's awesome. Thank you. Thanks for watching. And again, my apologies for my late start, the stream key. Okay, so in the case of this Shark Puppet Selects here, again, these are just that, a series of selects of some of the best moments from this particular edit. And I also see that my whole UI is modified here. Hold on, I'm just going to clean this up so that my camera looks better in here. Kind of messed me up, changing my workspaces. All right, so I'm just let's play back a couple of these things right here and just to kind of see some of this. If you've not seen Shark Puppet, I didn't see anybody react to it. Is anyone familiar with Shark Puppet? All right, let's take a playback of this.
Would you oversleep?
Yeah.
What now?
Press the like button or else I'll oversleep again. Okay. I overslept!
Oh, this also thing. The shark also screams a lot.
That toilet paper. We're all sold out. Yeah.
The problem is he's filming these things. I'm usually sitting there and I can't help but laughing. So there's a lot of me like just cracking up while it's happening. Anyway, it's very ridiculous, and this is going to be some of the other content that we're trying to organize here. All right, perfect. All right. So now, again, all of those selects are here. So when it comes time to import the next bit that we're working on, which we might start assembling here, all right, if I'm going to make a new episode, all right, directly from here inside the episodes folder, I can build the new project, all right? So I'm not going to build the project with the selects. I'm going to build it as part of the episodes here, or maybe I'll do something else. And again, you can always move these things around. This might be some kind of a rough cut down or something, or just a work in progress. You can always move them around. The production will handle the organization. So let's call this project, call this EP7 Shark Puppet Imposter number 1. All right. And now we have that new project there where we can begin again to assemble stuff, bring media in from the other project if we want to, pancake things, and start working that way. All right? Pretty cool. Santi Fox, doing video editing is definitely consuming of the computer. So even wondered doing a 2-computer stream setup to ease the pain? I'm not sure what you mean by that. You're talking about, I mean, using separate machines for like rendering and production? I mean, that's certainly something that you can do. Again, a lot of it just has to do with what is the nature of the content you're working with, right? In the case of this stuff here, all of this footage here, this is all iPhone. So it's iPhone 4K, but it's, it's pretty heavy and it's compressed. So not the most ideal content to be playing in real time. But you notice I always keep my drop frame indicator on here inside of Premiere, which you can enable from the wrench menu. All right, show drop frame indicator right there. And I'm currently playing this back at half resolution, okay? Now the pause resolution is full, so when I stop, I'm always seeing it in full quality. I also have high quality playback enabled. This is to ensure that when you're playing back or paused in full, that you are actually seeing every pixel. There's no additional nothing. You're seeing it in full quality, as high quality as possible, even if you're fitting it into the window here. This does add a little bit of a hit, however, to the processing. So, if you find that by turning this on, it's going to look better, but things slow down a bit more, you can always disable this. On this particular machine, this is a 3-year-old iMac 5K. It's still doing it.
Oh, what's this? An olive.
And again, no drop frames. It's also going to tell you if you dropped any frames here. So it really just depends. Do I always create proxies or only for heavy 4K files? I mean, yeah, typically, again, if I'm doing a lot of editing with this stuff with proxies, with 4K, I will in fact create proxies. And you can always create these after the fact. And again, it doesn't change the way that your production is laid out at all. So, there's a couple of things you can do here. First of all, if you go into your production settings, now you'll notice here you have different access, different things here in terms of what you can change when you're in the production, right? So when it's grabbing your projects, all of the ingest settings for those projects stay. The scratch disks for those projects remain. It's using all of those same things. That's why I was saying before, it doesn't make sense to have your production with all of your media because it respects all those other things. But the difference is, you'll notice you can't turn on ingest for the production because, again, you're not actually putting media in the production itself. You're pointing to the projects, okay? So when you build the project, if you want to, in fact, have your proxies used, just set up the project to have the proxies enabled ahead of time. All right. And then, of course, to enable or disable those visually, not everyone will see this, but this is your toggle proxy button. So when you have proxies used here, you just drag this down into your, I actually had it already right there. I didn't even see it. You drag your button down into the button editor. And then when it's blue, you're working in proxies. And when it's gray, you're working off of native media. So one of the nicest things about our proxy workflow is there's absolutely no manual relinking necessary unless you're bringing in proxies that were created outside of Premiere. If that's the case, then yes, you would have to do a bit of manually relinking. But even then, it's really as simple as selecting your media here, proxy, and then again, you could reconnect full res media, attach proxies, or create proxies. So now that I'm in the Shark Puppet Select project, I could say create proxies, and I just need to tell it what formats I want to use. So for me, I'm typically using ProRes. These are some of the defaults here, and we've even changed, I see we've changed the options here. So ProRes, low resolution, medium high, Cineform, and then DNxHR for VR, okay? But you notice you can also add your own ingest presets. So in a previous Adobe Live Masterclass, I showed you how to build ingest presets. And this includes making proxies. So maybe you like to have DNxHD, super efficient, but like, 8-bit, super small proxy media. You can import one of those ingest presets for Media Encoder here inside the proxy creation window as well. All right. For vlogs and YouTube content, I feel like I want everything filmed in 4K. However, it'll eat up my HHDs, and I think it makes the process slower. So I can just future-proof content where nobody would care about quality. Yeah, I mean, listen, it makes sense to be shooting everything in 4K, thinking about tomorrow, of course, right? I mean, that is kind of the nature of it. So, but, for most people, though, 1080 really is still kind of the standard delivery medium. But yes, I mean, even now, I'm trying to have the masters of everything in 4K if possible. But like with these gaming videos and things, 1080, it's fine, because for the same reason. I'm only letting him play for 20 minutes because, again, small YouTube channel, he can only upload 15 minutes worth of content. So maybe I let it go a little longer because obviously we're going to cut stuff out. But 20 minutes of 4K, even in compressed H.264, can be a pretty large file. And then if you're wanting to, if you're capturing it, ProRes RAW, again, if you're shooting, not capturing gaming video here, or maybe just ProRes 422 or 422 HQ, these files are going to be massive. But you'll have the ability to create new exports in 4K when that becomes, more accessible to more people everywhere. So that's a you definitely want to be thinking about future proofing for sure. Okay. Now, one of the things that I wanted to talk about here with regards to the production. So again, now we've got our episodes, we've got sound effects, we've got selects here. And these can be episode selects too of various different things. Maybe I even insert some of this crazy stuff into some of the regular episodes or works in progress here. Don't forget that you still have access to libraries, and you also have access to things like Adobe Stock Audio, which we just brought into Premiere Pro last week. So maybe I'll just show you that real briefly if you didn't happen to catch it. It's a super awesome panel or process rather that you can find via the Essential Sound panel. So if you've heard about Adobe Stock Audio and you went to the window menu and you're like, where is Stock Audio? I don't see it. It's part of Essential Sound. So let's go into Essential Sound here. All right. And my whole UI is just getting all messed up. Let's save a new version of this. Being very particular about how this is framed here. That looks pretty good. All right. So this is Adobe Stock Audio. By the way, if we're just in the regular Essential Sound, this is the classic default view. You'll now notice a Browse tab, and that of course goes right to Adobe Stock. All right. You can see at present, with no filtering, over 36,000 files. Important to point out, where are these files coming from? Epidemic Sound. So anybody who's creating YouTube videos most likely knows of Epidemic Sound. They're kind of one of the standards in the industry, as well as Jamendo. Okay. And then it's really just a matter of searching and finding what you're looking for. So if you know specifically, a particular type of music that you want, I've been trying to throw random terms at this to see what it comes up with. So this is Shark Puppet. So I was thinking, well, I kind of want something sort of creepy in here. Let's see if any of the audio, if any of the music has creepy as metadata. It might not. I don't know. And apparently it does. All right. And you can see it returned 49 results. Okay. Not a huge amount, but all of these tracks have creepy as metadata in them to some degree. Now, here's what's really cool about the Adobe Stock workflow. So first and foremost, what's really nice about this is this allows something called timeline sync, where you can play the audio content in context in the position wherever your cursor is. So if I wanted to hear a soundtrack starting here, okay? Again, I have my cursor at the beginning of this right here. At the bottom of the UI, you'll see we have this timeline sync feature. A little pop-up, sorry, it's blocking it there, but it says when enabled, audio previews will play in sync with your timeline from the point where you place the playhead, okay? And then you have a separate volume control for the audio soundtrack, which is really nice. So here, this one, creepy haunted it probably is atmosphere. Let's see if I drag this out, if it'll. Yeah, creepy haunted atmosphere. All right, so let's take a listen to this one. It tells us the BPM, it tells us the length, all right?
What, you were asleep?
Yeah.
What now?
Press the like button, or else I'll oversleep again. Okay. I overslept.
It kind of works, all right? Now, I don't know that that's going to be the music he's going to love. In fact, he told me I need to compose it because that's what I do. Exact words. You need to compose it because that's what you do. So you could do one of two things here. And this is, again, something that's super, super cool. All right, I'll show you a couple different options here. So if you've got a blank track in your timeline already, you can simply click and drag right from Adobe Stock into your timeline. That progress panel, which you saw before, would have loaded in the preview. And what's awesome is these are not watermarked. They're just low bit rate. So now we actually have the file in the timeline here. And you can see it shows that it's an M4A preview, okay? Playing directly in the timeline right now. Okay. And of course, we'd make adjustments to the sound, to the audio here as well.
What, you were asleep?
Yeah.
What now?
Press the like button.
Okay. So that's a really awesome function to just drag and drop right from Adobe Stock. And it's super, super fast. Now, again, you also have the ability here, if we liked this track, you can license directly in the timeline. So just like that, I'm not going to do this now and use any credits, but just like with Adobe Stock and Photoshop, just like Adobe Stock in InDesign, you can license right here. So, you know, maybe you're sitting with a client, maybe you're sitting with your co-editor, friend, whomever. You're like, oh, I totally like that. You just license it right here. Done deal. So simple, so easy, so effective. It just works really, really nicely. All right. And again, we can continue to preview things as well. So if I wanted to check out like maybe another one of these scenes here. So maybe I wanted to start playback from this particular clip. Let's try this one here, just called Creepy. It's epic pop. Let's see what that, it's 77 beats per minute though, so it's gonna be slow. So let's hear what that sounds like.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
Okay, what? That's creepy? That sounds like the Partridge Family. Kind of sounds, it's sort of Taylor Swift-ish, right? Oh, they totally stole that. Nothing wrong with that. It's Arlo Guthrie, very famous musician, once said, "It's not a matter of whether you steal, it's if you get caught." So, no, but that's not stealing. It's, you know, has everything been written in music? That's a question people ask a lot. Okay, let's go to Swarm. Okay, a little electronic, but not bad. Creepy Cockroach. Now maybe, again, maybe I don't want this position in the film. Maybe we'll try this particular clip over here. So let's play it from there. I like that. That's a really good one. That's great. Okay. So we could drag it in. We could also just add it to the project, all right, and tell it which project we want it to actually go in. Or, more importantly, we can save it to a library. Now, this was something I'm going to cover a bit more tomorrow because I want to show sort of, not the differences, but there's so much that you can do in libraries now. And in particular with audio now, you could also store your own audio files directly in CC libraries now. I'm going to show you that in just a moment. So I typically save everything to my Jason's library right here. So I can say, let's save Creepy Cockroach to Jason's library, all right? And if I go into my libraries panel here, all right, and for those of you not totally familiar with CC libraries, I mean, if you're watching Adobe Live here and you've seen, I know, a lot of our streamers, a lot of my fellow colleagues leverage these. I use libraries all the time. I don't actually know how I lived without libraries, to be honest with you. It's a great way to, again, store commonly used assets. This is where you can access things like stock video, of course, motion graphics templates, and then on the design side, all of your colors and brushes. If you're using Adobe Capture, there's so many things, graphical elements that you can bring in from Capture. They get stored here, which you can use in After Effects as vectors. I have a whole series of different libraries here where you see these heads. This is telling you that these are shared libraries. So here's just one with me and Terry White. We're working on stuff. I just pop things in there occasionally, animated lower thirds or whatever, and Terry has instant access to them. So libraries are a great way to, again, just like organize and work with content. This kind of shows you some of the graphical elements that we have here. Again, a lot of these were things that I've done in Capture and elsewhere. All right, some hand lettering scanned in. Again, stock video. Looks, this is another element of Adobe Capture, which I use a lot for grading video. And then audio, all right? And what you'll see here is now, because we saved it to the library, that Creepy Cockroach soundtrack is now available to us in our CC library. So while you might also build up a project, again, think about the production here, with all of your stock music. And ultimately, I would probably go ahead and license that, all right? So if I click on this, just to show you the process here, why not? I like it. Creepy Cockroach. Cockroaches are the creepiest of all bugs, in my humble personal opinion. License Creepy Cockroach. This is going to use one of my credits, all right? Confirm. And by the way, I'm going to click on this for a second here, okay? So this gives you, again, some of the information about what that license covers. Many people are already using Epidemic Sound, so you'll be pretty familiar with how all of it works. But that's what this page, that's what that link goes to. If you go ahead and click on Confirm, all right, it's now licensing that track, meaning that it's downloading the wave. I don't know if you saw there for a second. It just took a second there. It's also going to give you this license code. And what's important about this, and I would recommend copying this and then just pasting this off to a text file. By the way, you can always access these license codes from within your Adobe Stock account. So if you're grabbing and licensing a lot of stock audio, the reason for this is if you go ahead and monetize your videos on YouTube, it is possible that you may encounter one of those copyright claim messages. And there's a process where you can claim that, yes, I have a license to use this. Now, you may not necessarily not be able to monetize. Maybe it's shared monetization, but maybe it says, oh, you can't, you're not going to be able to monetize this video. That's what this license code is for. And we actually have a video here on, on the Creative Cloud YouTube channel that shows you the process, if you've never done it in YouTube, how to enter in this license code. It's quite a few clicks. I've already done a bunch of uploads with these as tests over the last few weeks. I haven't run into it myself. It's possible out of the 36,000 or so files, you may run into this, but you're covered, and that's exactly what this is for. All right. So Santi's asking, can you save your audio files as well? Now, in terms of audio files being here, so again, now that you have this, by the way, notice now it's a wave. So again, it's an uncompressed wave file. It gives you some little hover over metadata when you see it, so you can see the BPM, the group that created it, they're called Xperia, the stock audio number that tells us that it's licensed. All right, so again, we can add it to the project here. We can add it to a group if we so desire. But more importantly, if you want to bring in your own audio, all right, now this is a little bit different. So for that process, I just want to kind of show you how that works, all right? So I want to go to one of those screams. Wait, not that one. Is there a good scream at the beginning there? Okay, I'm going to go with that, yeah. So I'm just real quickly, I'm going to edit this clip in Audition. I'm going to show you why. So the way that you bring audio into CC libraries currently is done from the desktop. May seem like an odd way of doing it. I imagine that will change in the future, but at present, that's the way it is. So I'm going to just create a single standalone file of that. All right. Like that. So I'm going to copy this to a new file. Got some noise on there. Let's go ahead and get rid of that while we're at it. All right, I'm going to use our denoiser. Now I will typically go into our spectral view to see what's going on here. It's primarily low frequency noise. You can see it here. Probably air conditioning, HVAC system, sub 200 hertz. So technically I could tell it here to use the lower frequency curve, which is what I'm going to do. Let's preview this. I don't want to lose the echo of the room. So that sounds perfect. And again, by using this curve, it's going to focus on low frequency attenuation, low frequency noise attenuation. Let's go ahead and click apply on this. All right. Significantly gone, significantly better. Okay. All right. Let's go back to our waveform view. And now, oh, whoops, I don't want to do that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to increase the amplitude here just a little bit. And then I'm going to use our on-clip fade tool. All right. So just fade in the beginning and then do a nice little sinusoidal fade at the end there so that it's just really super clean. And maybe get rid of the beginning here. We don't need quite so much lead. I'm going to save this as SP, yeah. All right. And place this on the desktop so that I know where to find it. All right. What's up, Kevin Monahan? Santi, what type of microphone? So I've switched a lot of this around lately because I've been augmenting and changing the studio around. Still have a bit of a reworking to do. Typically, I've always used my AT4050 large diaphragm condenser on the desk here. So I'm generally a little bit warmer, a little closer to you, and a little bassier. I've switched to the classic Sennheiser MKH416, which is on a boom just above me here. And that's a very standard supercardioid condenser shotgun mic. And so that's what you're listening to. All right. All right. Santi Fox, can you save video files as well? All right. If you're talking about in libraries, show you that in a sec too. Okay, so let's go ahead and click OK on this to save it on the desktop. All right, let's go back to Premiere Pro. Bring in our libraries. Okay, so here's my and I'm going to drag it to library. And just like that, there it is. Okay? So now this becomes an element that I can access anywhere, whether I'm in the production or not. So again, as someone who's leveraging a lot of assets over and over again, like I can see myself even in my own videos using this silly, just one because it just makes me laugh and smile. But libraries, there's so much access now. If you remember when these started out for video, there wasn't a lot in there. There's a lot in there now. So it's a really great way to just very quickly store stuff and then drag it in. But again, the current workflow is from the desktop. I remember the first day before I talked to some of the engineers when we built this feature in. Like many of you, I was, in a, oh no, hold on, where are my projects now? I was in my, one of my project folders, and I'm going, oh, okay, cool, oh, awesome. I'm just gonna drag this media in here, and I'm like, oh, okay, it's not doing anything. It's not doing anything. It's not doing anything. It's not doing anything. It would make sense that you should be able to drag from a panel in Premiere into libraries. I'm sure that's coming at some point. At present, you just drag it from the desktop. And you see it's instantaneous. Of course, that's dependent on how large the file is. And maybe Kevin knows, Kevin, since I'm calling you out here, do you know the file size limit? I know we have, I imagine it's like the standard limit, and I always forget if it's 1 or 2 gigs. This was something that came up a lot when we were introducing Mogrts, the file size for Mogrts. But in any case, all right. True, I have 2 Rode on-camera mics and a lav for my Zoom, missing 1 more to boom, but not a necessity. Yeah, by the way, that H6N, there's a shotgun attachment for that, which is really, really good. I wouldn't say it's quite as good as the Sennheiser, but as shotguns go, it sounds really nice. The thing is, when you're using a shotgun, if you're doing it on set, I mean, that is the only way to go, of course, because with the polar pattern, most of them are either super cardioid or hypercardioid. It's like I always tell people, think of it as your very shallow depth of field. There's a very small area window where you're right on axis, right? Stephanie is live, starting my own podcast this week. All right, that's awesome, Steph. What mic are you using? People are always asking that too. So, you have to be laser focused. And that's why when you see boom operators, holding up the booms and doing stuff like on location, it's no easy task. One, you're holding that pole, holding the microphone, but you have to be really laser focused. And they're always monitoring because just like with, I'm shooting this camera here, this is at f3.5. So if I'm here, right, I'm blurry. And if I'm out here, I'm blurry. I know that I have approximately about a foot, about 12 inches or so, 30 some centimeters, probably did that conversion wrong, where I'm in focus. Well, supercardioid shotgun mics are the same, right? It's like you're on axis with their mouth, you're off axis, you're completely off, right? And they reject almost all sound from the rear as well. So you got to be laser focused on that. And that's why, like I said, it's kind of hard to go wrong with a shotgun if in your situation, that's where you're working. That's kind of what you need. If you're just doing like podcast style, doesn't have to be a large diaphragm condenser, but I prefer those. It's also, you can also just use things like dynamic mics like Shure SM7s and all that other stuff. All right. Cool. All right. And Stephanie's using the Blue Yeti, a very popular one. Talked about that recently. Okay. Santi Fox. Oh yeah, I know. I started saying that a couple of weeks ago when I did this thing, how to record your voice, and it just kind of popped into my head. Oh yeah, think of it as like depth of field, being on axis, with a shotgun. Okay. Okay, so now that you've seen kind of stock audio, and just to kind of reveal again some of the other elements here which continue to be very useful in productions. Now again, when you pull in motion graphics templates, it's going to create a motion graphics template folder inside your project. But don't forget that as you license them, reuse them, they will also show up in your motion graphics template library. So, because he's using the same standard ones all the time, here they are, right? And, very simply, if you want to add one of these, you just drag it down into your timeline. Let's go back to our program monitor here. All right. These are animated, of course. All right. And then you can also adjust the durations if you want this to be shorter. Just like that. All right. Mogrts are so good. And, as a non-designer myself, talked about this a lot on stream. For years, I just struggled with trying to make good-looking lower thirds. I mean, even now, I usually will get something and, I can animate it or do whatever, but I struggle with like color choices. I don't know what goes well together. I just don't feel. I think I know what it is, and then I look at it, I'm like, that's horrible. Why does that look like something from 1994? If anyone's been watching ESPN lately, obviously there's no sports on, so you can watch all these archived games. So like yesterday I was watching, I love Women's College World Series, one of the first sports I actually ever got into because I'm not a huge sports fan. Bigger sports fan now than I ever was, but years ago never watched anything, but always liked WCWS. And I was watching yesterday, they had on, it was Arizona versus UCLA from 2001. And the motion graphics that they were using, my kids were cracking up because, one, they look so 90s. Everything has drop shadow. Everything was this like 2.5D. I guess it was sort of 3D, but it's that, 2001. You just didn't have, think Pixar in 2001. You were getting there. I think that was already, Monsters Inc. I think had already been made. So it was definitely a lot better than if you look at like Toy Story 1. But graphics-wise, stuff was still, it was very blocky and very, very bright. And we're looking at these things, and he was laughing, and he was like, why do these graphics look so cheesy? I'm like, well, I thought it was 99. I'm like, well, it's 99, buddy. That's how it goes. So again, point being that, you don't have to stress over those things. To access all of those, by the way, and this is something that I always turn to, whereas you have Adobe Stock Audio in Essential Sound, you have Adobe Stock Mogrts in Essential Graphics. So here in the Essential Graphics panel, again, you've got your Adobe Stock button. Now, right now, we're just looking at all the things that are in my library. It's also just worth pointing out that Premiere pre-installs a whole bunch of templates. Now, these are, I have so many because I've created a bunch and licensed a bunch over the years. These are ones that I've made. But there's a whole bunch of standard ones that come pre-installed. I'm trying to see if any of those are still in here. I may have taken a lot of them out. Yeah, so like a lot of these credits, bold credits, these are like movie style credits, again, always with the hover scrubbing so you can see what the animations look like. A lot of standard ones here, but searching Mogrts in Adobe Stock is so awesome, and there's always new ones. So even right now, like just this default look, talk about timely, maybe uncomfortably so, but you can see right now, virus flow titles. That totally new. So we are constantly updating these. You will see new ones pop in here literally daily. Those are actually really cool. All right. Again, maybe a little too soon, too close for me. I'm not doing anything that requires these, but very nicely done, right? Very clearly created in After Effects. All right. So this tells you, again, these are premium. So these are purchase ones, but they're 1080p, custom color and font selection. All right. You have 3 different styles here that you can leverage, or maybe they're just changing the colors. You got some nice blur, depth of field blur and stuff. So there's just always new stuff appearing in here. In fact, I wish there was a way to see the number of motion graphics templates like it does with stock audio. And then of course you can just say, just show me the free ones. And those too, like look right here. People are on top of stuff, right? July 4th is coming up here in the US, so somebody just obviously created some July 4th titles. Right now these are taking a second to load in. So here's another one. I haven't searched on anything. So these are just the most recently added. That's what you're going to see. If you don't search on anything, that's kind of the default there. These ones I grabbed a while ago, these futuristic cyberpunk titles, dirty neon, super, just very cool and modern looking. Very nice stuff. Yeah. Kevin is saying, yeah, free templates are installed, but if you type A in the search bar and sort by free, you can find a lot more freebies. Go get them. I mean, I am all about these free templates because they're just phenomenal. And there's so many good ones. And whereas, you know, often you think free, what's that going to be like? No, you will be shocked, you know. Even stuff like this, like cool lights. I always think these like the J.J. Abrams, like, look at this. This is a free title. Now, that's okay. They've got like a video clip in there. That's neat that they gave you that. Obviously, that is not meant to be used. You're going to put your own video in there. But look at this. I mean, this is like really nice. This is free. And there's 10 styles in here. All right. So when you think about, you know, assembling your production and assembling your stuff, really, you don't have to create it all. You know, you can really leverage a lot from Adobe Stock in here. And this is something which I've been trying to tell not only my offspring, but fellow friends and editors who have kind of re-entered doing stuff in Premiere. Is like Adobe Stock there's so much content in here. I mean, even look at this one. As I'm looking at this, sliding promo title text. You know, this right here, just this intro. Now, maybe this is passé for some. This looks super cool and modern to me. Like, I still really like this. You still see this style a lot. Really, really nice. And this is free. All customizable. Nicely done. All right. Very cool. All right. Very nice. Okay. Checking on some more questions here. All right. Yes, and Mogrt is for motion graphics template, by the way. Dr. Jekyll and Hyde, would the Sennheiser also work for audiobook recording? Absolutely. I mean, it's a fantastic vocal microphone, period. You know, one of the differences, and again, this is really depending upon what you like to do, or how you like to sound, rather, I should say. You know, if you have a large format condenser, large diaphragm condenser. So something, again, here's the previous mic that I typically use. So this is my AT4050 Audio-Technica multi-pattern condenser, right? Large diaphragm condenser. This one, and I always say microphones are built for the specific voice. This one is just very warm, very big, very rich. It's really wonderful for voices. You know, the shotgun mics by nature have a pretty significant bass roll off. You still have bass frequency, but it's going to be a bit more carefully processed so that you don't actually have to process it as much in post. But it's a slightly different sound. So if you're looking for a very warm, big vocal sound for like an audio book, you can achieve it via EQ through the Sennheiser, but by nature, by default, it's not really like a big warm microphone. You know, you might want even something, again, I mentioned like the SM7B or even a Beta 58 can give you a warmer tone. The Sennheiser is nice. It's really more about clarity and flexibility. You can kind of EQ that to work whether it's outside or on location, on set, or anywhere. That's kind of the nice thing about the Sennheiser or just shotguns in general is that think of them as kind of flat, you know, whereas some dynamic mics are very, by design, very bassy, too warm. A lot of condensers can be very bright. You know, my voice on a Blue Yeti doesn't work at all. It just doesn't work at all. So some of that can be handled through EQ, but absolutely you could use it for that. No question. All right. Okay. Oh, Cody. I have to say, I'm glad you said that you weren't. It's so funny. We say Mogrts so frequently, and I think, we forget. Like that's not a common. It's not a common term. Motion graphics template, and it's actually the file extension is .mogrt. So Mogrt limits. Kevin, so it is. It's 1 gig for libraries, okay, and then 4 gigs in general. Yes. And again, think about it. If you're building template anything, do you want your template to be, would you want a template to be 4 gigs in size? I mean, maybe, especially if it has a lot of motion graphics. I mean, that's just, it's just heavy, right? So I don't know that I would necessarily want that. But you could, right? Okay. So, all right. So again, now we're back to production. We spent a lot of time on libraries here just to kind of reveal all the things we're going to do. We've got the Shark Puppet Imposter project empty at present. All right. And maybe in this case, what I might do is start bringing in some sequence elements here. I wanted to I'm going to just quickly save this. All right. Let's go back to the production here. So here, let's see, this is this one. Okay, let's save the production and just go back out. I want to just show you one more. Let's close everything. Let's close this production. Everything is saved. Let's save the sound effects project. All right, let's save the Shark Puppet selects. I didn't make any real changes to this. Okay, so back home again. All right, just to clear everything out. So I want to open a production. So once you start creating productions, when you go to open production, you're going to get this little drop-down menu here. So this is, again, it's nothing fancy, but it's just nice so that you can kind of see all the different productions you're working on. So I've got my Lizard Gaming series, and then this is the one that I was initially going to work on, but it wound up being just a bit of a bear here. But I did start assembling it, and it's some of my Just Play Music original content for this children's show from years ago. So let's go ahead and open this up. All right. And again, if you look in here, got a lot of simple organization. You can see a combination of different things. So under edits, we have some of the roughs. You know what? Is there a production workspace? There is. You go to a production workspace. Now it's kind of, again, doesn't work exactly with my camera layout. I'm going to change that right now. It's not bad. Okay. So you can see, very long time ago, note the hair color. Note the hair color. Where's my finger? There. All right. But here, this is where I started kind of, again, going through the archives, because this show, which was 14 episodes that never aired, it's a mess. It's stuff all over, strewn across drives, across network drives, so many hundreds of projects. And I thought, maybe I can finally use productions to kind of simplify this. And I'm getting there. I mean, it's going to take some time. There's no question. All right. And again, if I go into like footage here, you know, this is just kind of show you, like, for this first pilot, some of the roughs. By the way, I had this very ill-advised idea to shoot inserts super close. Too close. I don't know what I was thinking. You'll also notice that a lot of this was shot. We did this. It was meant to be shot all white screen, so like Apple commercial style, so that when it cut to images of the camera, when it cut to images of like me, my hands playing on the keyboard and everything, that it was unobstructed. All right. Now some of these, as I was pulling in some of this media, let me mute this for a second. I'm gonna scrub through it. Yeah, this kind of gives you an idea of what it looked like. Some really old motion graphics, 3D style. Play this for you for just a second. It's actually kind of cool. This was a template that I purchased off of the old After Effects marketplace, because again, I tried to design my own, and I made my own then 2.5D characters, but they just didn't look good, you know, and the colors were all off. I don't even love the colors here. I modified them, but this was a template. Take a quick look at this.
1, 2, just play music.
I don't know why that audio there, that's like the wrong clip because I'm like singing there. I don't know, that was weird. But that just kind of shows you some of those old motion graphics there. But again, you can see it's all white screen. It was so hot shooting this. And this was an early rough intro multi-edit grade. This is like a first pass of this. So the grading is really bizarre. But this was all live performance, so this was not like overdubbed. Everything that you were hearing is exactly what you were seeing as I was playing it. So, and that was kind of the theme of the show, which is why I wanted to shoot everything on that white backdrop so that you were just kind of seeing performance, you know. It was also a real bear to grade in the end. So these are just roughs. You can see I had to put the drums at a separate place and hang some white sheets. Really kind of interesting to try and get it uniform. Again, these are kind of the pre-grades. Man, look at my hair. I really had very dark hair at one point in time. If that's not a drummer face, I don't know what is. Right. That's also my Elvis sideburn era. All right. Let's see what the last frame sounds like here. I don't know what that blue is. I think it's probably a missing effect. I saw there were some missing effects notifications when I opened the project. That's the thing too, you know, with a lot of these. Let's see. Oh yeah, so look. So this was created, this was so long ago. I used to use Magic Bullet looks for everything. Still around, still awesome. Love Magic Bullet. But I used looks for everything. So there's no looks in here. I don't know what that's trying to apply, but so I don't know what's creating that weird blue right there. Might just be an artifact in that video. I have no idea. But the whole point of this was to have the production laid out so that I could have all the various edits. So like that was the show intro. I even uncovered there was a full version of the song that I had totally forgotten about that was in here, which again, now I can always point to the media. And all of this stuff was shot with six cameras. So this is one of the really cool things about once this stuff is contained in the production. By the way, you notice these things loaded up super fast. I told you, this is like thousands of pieces of media. If I just do a thing like reveal, okay. First and foremost here, you know, this allows me to kind of see some of these rough insert takes. By the way, with the live audio as well. Like the Rickenbacker 4003 V63. Cameraman was a little out of focus here. So yeah, so all of those performances were captured live, recorded live into auditions, synchronized across multiple cameras, and then resynced for the edit here. But the production now is going to house all of these elements so that I can just get to them faster. So again, as I was going through the various edits, you know, as you saw, I had all those hundreds of projects. They were so badly organized. I mean, if I'm ever going to make any sense of any of this stuff, and there's so many different episodes, this is going to be an easier way to bring all that together. All right. You didn't even recognize me in the footage. You know, yeah, right. Same guy, right? Like, how did Gandalf start streaming? Yes. All right. Okay. So for our last, oh, and this was the original. This was my, again, this is 2011. So my first son, he was so little, but this was how the show was supposed to start.
Just play music.
And then it would go into that 1, 2. So, and look, boogers. Little kids always have boogers. It's very smiley. Kevin, I remember that guy. That's right. It's a long time ago. This look is a bizarre one, though. I don't know about this. I don't know what I was doing here. The whole thing. By the way, this is a really classic old 60s Slingerland kit. And for anyone who's a drummer notes, I play, my preferred way is Ginger Baker style. So all the drums are flat. So you can do like ticka-da-goom, 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 ticka-da-goom. And a lot of polyrhythms. It's much, I kind of learned from the Ringo, from the Ginger Ringo school. Throw in some Keith Moon in there. A little bit of Lee Kerslake. I would love to say some Ian Pace, but no, I can't touch any of that stuff. Tried to do his foot pedal work techniques a few times, but very, very Ringo and very gingery at times. And anyway, so I play with the drums flat like that. Slingerland rules. Kevin Monahan, high kicks at the Stardust 2003. Oh my God, yeah, right. So long ago. Okay. Anyway, so what you're seeing here is, again, so we have the various edits. I have now access to all of the master footage. I mean, I had even forgotten about, again, so there's all these different shots from all the various cameras live at the piano. And so everything else was mounted. 5 cameras were mounted, and then there was one live camera. So that's what this is. This is the one cameraman, my buddy Max, who was doing it live. But there were also these mounted cameras on the side. These were really old 720p AVI files. I'm not even exactly sure how they're playing on the Mac. They have a lot of weird audio glitches and video glitches, as you just saw. There's even additional footage. I wonder if this is going to relink to those folders. Yeah. There were some, this one here. Let me see if I bring these in. These old AVI files. Oh, no, that's the same one. Okay. There's another one. You can see it in this clip up here. Oh, maybe I hadn't mounted it for this performance yet. Later on, in a later performance, because again, this is like episode 1, I mounted another camera here. So you just had this other, like, slightly from the side view. So all of this stuff is going to be organized for the first time, and then I can actually start to put some of these things together. I had forgotten how many episodes and all the various performances that I did. Some of the performances are on my YouTube channel, and some are on Vimeo. I never use my Vimeo anymore, but they're there under my name. This is just it's going to bring this back to life. I don't know that I'll ever release any of this stuff, but trying to go through it in the traditional way, just by opening projects and working on projects, is like impossible. Now, I will say, having learned this from Carl, really, if you're going to do, like, if you've already got a whole series of footage, like this lizard gaming thing, we're still at the beginning. So I feel pretty good that, like, we're not far, we're still early enough where I can build the production from scratch. And again, it's real clean and easy. If I were to, say, have 20 episodes in already, I don't know if that's the most ideal way to work in the production. You still can. I'm not saying you can't. But this is, again, it's kind of a new way of thinking before you get started, right? He's doing all this in Rush, so it makes sense that we didn't have the production started yet. But for me, because I want to be able to archive this and maybe start retweaking some of the edits, he called me his assistant editor the other day. So as his assistant, now I have a new way to access all of this. And again, I can just start pulling all of that and really localizing all of those things to make it that much easier. So, again, to go into some of these things, like the most recent gaming episode, this was the first one where we used, we had just done our launch event last Tuesday, and he wanted to use green screen. I don't ever green screen. Why would I? I'm in a studio here. So, but he wanted to use a green screen. So, like, we have a lot of stuff that was shot on the green screen, which now I can bring in as additional elements and such. So, we'll be doing, quite a lot of that and organizing all of those things, in addition to, again, just unifying a lot of the effects and things.
Alright, game over. Let's go ahead and get into the next mod, I guess. Alright. So yeah, this mod.
Alright. Standard harp glissando. Standard, that's a motion graphics template, by the way. And it's also worth pointing out that this particular template is a responsive one. So this is, if we go into Essential Graphics, I wonder if it's going to be recently accessible here. Let's see if I can find it. I don't even remember. Let's see if I do transition. Yep. Oh, there we go. Tricolor Wipe Right. All right. So this is one of my favorite. I use this for my own stuff. I love this one. He saw it in here and he's like, oh, I love that. So real simple, right? Editable colors. So we matched the colors to kind of follow the Sonic colors in these old school Sega mods. And just lovely. But they're responsive. So the animation at the beginning and the end will always retain the same amount of time. And you can see that down here by these little grade sections of the motion graphics template. And if you go into the effects controls here, that's showing you that any of the animated keyframes here, it's always going to respect the time that it takes to animate the in and the out of these color bars. So whether I make this, 10 minutes in length, it's going to linger there like that, right? But the animation on
Yes. Right. So yeah,
and then
this
off
mod,
will always be the same time, right? So that's using, again, the responsive design time feature right here inside of the Essential Graphics panel. Okay. Oh, Cody, thanks for that. Wow. Thank you for finding it. I seriously haven't been in there forever. Hugh O'Connor, your first real kit was Slingerland. Mine too. Mine too. It was a 1969. It was in like a matte white color. It was given to me, and sadly, over the years, I wound up selling off some pieces, giving a few away. A bunch of things got broken. It's on some of my earliest recordings when I first started doing it back in the early 90s. But it was a phenomenal kit, and I'm most upset that it had all the original, it had original Zildjian symbols, 60s era Zildjians, including, oh my God, I just forgot the name of it. A sizzle, right? With the rivets in the symbol. So like a 60s sizzle. Oh, they just don't make them like that anymore. So that's gone, unfortunately. All right. So with that, my friends, I'm going to say goodbye to you now. So thank you so much for joining. I'll be back tomorrow. We're going to be working more on some actual editing inside the production now that you've seen kind of how we pulled it together. I'm going to spend the afternoon compiling and putting some of more of those standard files in the production ready to use. So until then, have a great rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world. Coming up next, we've got Claudia with the Illustrator Daily Creative Challenge. So stick around for that. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you again next time. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.